Good evening. Today is Monday, September 28, 2020. Welcome to this evening's regular meeting of the Oregon City Council. Let's begin tonight's meeting by standing for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Evans, will you please take a roll call count for attendance?
Mr. Davish?
Here.
Mr. Hamiak?
Here.
Mrs. Powell? Here. Mr. Reeves?
Here.
Mr. Steven?
Here.
Mr. Wallace?
Here.
Mr. Sale?
Here. Thank you. Please note that all members of council are present this evening. Also joining us on the council is Team Evans, Mayor Michael Perry, City Administrator Ronald Beasley, Law Director Melissa Moore, our Public Service Director Paul Roman, Finance Director Ms. Valerie Huntermark, our Assistant Police Chief Chris Bliss, and our Assistant Fire Chief John Long. Council, we have one person here that's going to speak before us tonight, but that's for item number 102, so we'll wait till we get to that. So we have no other people to speak before council this evening. Therefore, the first order of business would be the approval of the meeting minutes of the September 14, 2020 regular meeting of council.
Mr. President?
Mr. Seaman?
Yes, I move for to accept the meeting minutes from September 14, 2020 as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Seaman.
Second.
Second by Mr. Reeves. Council, any objections? Hearing no objections, the meeting minutes from September 14, 2020 regular meeting of council are approved as submitted. Council, we did not have a roll meeting last week. Therefore, we have to add items 99 through 102 of 2020 to this evening's agenda.
Mr. President?
Mr. Seaman.
Yes, I'll make a motion to add items 99 through 102 of 2020 to this evening's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Seaman. Second by Mr. Reed. Council, any objections? Hearing no objections, items from 99 through 102 are added to this evening's agenda. We will start with item number 99. Item number 99 is being presented by Mayor Dr. Jason Varian and Police Chief Mr. Michael Long. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. And it seems like we're always having police radios and purchases made, and everyone's going to solve these problems. But Chief Bliss is here to explain what the needs are for these radios and what they're upgrading.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief Bliss.
Yeah, so we're on a 5-year replacement cycle. We're going to replace 20 of our radio allotment each year for 5 years.
Chief Bliss, can you turn my mic, please?
I'm sorry. Is this better?
Yes, thank you.
So we're on a 5-year rotational cycle where we replace our portable radios 1/5 of the entire force every year for 5 years, and this is the second of those 5 years.
Thank you, Chief. Council, is there any questions for the administration on item number 99 of 2020? Hearing no questions, I'll sign item number 99, the ordinance number 99 of 2020. And ask any comments to read into the record. Ms. Evans.
Authorizing the mayor by his directive to issue a purchase order in the amount of $45,744.30 to Motorola Solutions Incorporated for 201 East South Upland Road, Schaumburg, Illinois, for the purchase of portable radios to be used in the Oregon Police Division.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Council.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Zale.
I move the passage of ordinance 99, 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Zale. Second by Ms. Powell. Ms. Evans, would you please take a roll call council on passage of ordinance number 99 of 2020?
Mr. Sale?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell? Yes. Mr. Davish?
Yes.
Mr. Hamiak?
Yes.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Steven?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes. Thank you, council. Please note that ordinance number 99 of 2020 did pass by a vote of 7 yeas, 0 nays. We'll move to item number 100 of 2020. Item number 100 is being presented by Mayor Michael Jason Varian and Fire Chief Mr. Dennis Hartman. Okay.
As you see in the summary of the piece of equipment that we are including in this, Chief Mullins here to give more details on what is all included in call it the plan service.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief Paul.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. Mayor, thank you. It's my opportunity to talk to you today about this, because it's kind of a unique situation where we've used 3 different vendors in the past to preventative maintenance all of our equipment for our light packs, which are the EKG monitors, which we would call the EKGs, as well as the AEDs. We used to have Philips, and we switched over recently to Physio Control, which makes it easier for us to work those pieces of equipment together in conjunction. We did that last year. We bought 13 AEDs. So what this does is it pulls us all together under one contract through Stryker, and we're going to make 4 annual payments of $13,834 based on the account for the city instead of spending $55,000 up front. If there's any questions that we have to answer.
Thank you, Chief. Council, any questions for the administration on item number 100, 2020?
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Zale.
Chief, what is our normal life expectancy of these?
So the normal life expectancy of the Life Pack 15 is about 10 years with good preventative maintenance. At AED, the last ones we had for over 12 years.
Are we adding any additional, or is it just replacing what we have right now?
This is not a replacement, this is for preventative maintenance for all the equipment. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Zale. Council, any further questions? Hearing no questions, I will sign item number 100, 2020, with ordinance number 100, 2020. We ask Ms. Evans to read into the record. Ms. Evans?
Authorizing the mayor and finance director to enter into a 4-year contract with Stryker Emergency Care, 11811 Little Northeast, Redmond, Washington, in the amount of $55,337.40, with payments to be made in 4 annual installments of $13,834.35 for maintenance and repair of Life Pack 15 monitors and Life Pack 1000 AEDs, to be used by the fire department and the city of Oregon and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Council?
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Zale.
I move for passage of ordinance 100, 2020, declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Zale. Second by Ms. Powell. Ms. Evans, would you please take the roll call, council, on passage of ordinance number 100, 2020, as emergency measure?
Mr. Dale?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell? Yes. Mr. Gaddis?
Yes.
Mr. Warnick?
Yes.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes. Thank you, council. Please note that ordinance number 100, 2020 did pass by over 7 yeas, 0 nays. We move to item number 101. Item number 101 is being presented by Mayor Michael J. Sperry, City Administrator Mr. Michael Easley, and Law Director Melissa Ford.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is something we chose to do with changes in the state law. It makes us more practical to comply when these changes. So changes are
Yes, Melissa and I will tackle this. This is an area that used to require bonds in state law for certain city officers, the treasurer, other individuals, finance director. It is not particularly practical to do that. Insurance is a cleaner way to provide this coverage. But state law required it. State law did change about a year and change ago. It allowed cities and local governments to adopt this policy and provide coverage for our insurance program. When you read it, it makes it look like nobody had to be honest until we passed this policy. So, what it really means is that the state law says as long as you declare this policy coverage of insurance, then the bonds are unnecessary. And long term, we'll save dollars on it. It's not a big savings, it's just more efficient way to embed it in our insurance program.
Thank you, Mr. Easley. Melissa, do you have anything to add?
I think Mr. Reeves stated it very good.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Council, are there any questions for the administration on item number 101?
Mr. President?
Mr. Seaman?
Yeah, Mr. Beasley, who else is required to have a bond besides the treasurer and finance director? Who else would want a bond?
Mr. President?
Yes, sir. Ms. Porter?
Thank you. Mr. Seaman, under, prior to House Bill 291 coming in, it was the treasurer, pursuant to state code, it was the purple court, they were also required. Also pursuant to our Ohio, or Oregon municipal code, there were other individuals that were required to do so. But with the passage of this House Bill, it now allows them to fall under the policy.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Seaman. Council, are there any further questions on item number 101? Hearing no further questions, I'll sign item number 101 with resolution 101 of 2020. May I ask Ms. Evans to read into the record, Ms. Evans?
Repealing Chapter 173 of the Oregon Municipal Code, adopting an employee dishonesty and basic performance of duty policy in lieu of individual surety bonds for trustees, employees, and appointees who are otherwise required by law to require a bond.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Council.
Mr. President,
Mr. Taylor.
I move for passage of ordinance 101, 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Second by Mr. Davish. Ms. Evans, would you please take roll call, council, on passage of resolution number 101 of 2020?
Mr. Sales?
Yes.
Mr. Davish?
Yes.
Mr. Monette?
yes.
Mrs. Powell? Yes. Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Seaman?
Yes.
Mr. Walton?
Yes. Thank you, council. Please note that resolution number 101 of 2020 did pass by a vote of 7 yeas, 0 nays. We'll move to the last item this evening, item number 102. Item number 102 is being presented by Mayor Michael Jason Marion, City Administrator Mr. Michael Beasley, and Finance Director Ms. Darlene Miller. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a little bit of a coincidence, this does follow other, we talked about insurance, so it's not just about that, but Darren is here to people that are introduced this, and I'm sure Lori will probably say a few things.
Thank you. Ms. Darlene?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is our annual liability insurance renewal. I sent a memo out with that, and we did have a small increase from last year. It is mostly due to property value inflation, increase in net operating expenditures, and changes in the number and value of our city vehicles. And Lori Manning from Highland was nice enough to come today to explain a little bit more about that.
Hi. Any questions, or do you have anything specific to what we're ready? Just wanted to make sure that everybody's comfortable with the renewal, and any questions or answers.
Yes, Mr. Beasley?
There's a note to the members. Each year we consider, do we have the right ratio of risk and coverage? In general, we think we're in a fairly reasonable spot for a city. We've been relatively low risk. We haven't a lot of claims as a city, and our premiums reflect that. I think being part of the Ohio Group has worked well for us, and we think it's something that pays off for the taxpayers long term. Obviously, if our experience changes, we'll see, but for so far, it's been working well.
Yeah, right now, for your, basically the insurance industry looks at like the last 5 years. And right now, you're trending right around 50%, which means 50% of your premium dollars are going to handle claims. Historically, it's a lot lower. So if you take the whole history that the city of Oregon has with the Ohio plan, it's even lower. So they do consider that too when they're pricing your account. And like Mr. Beasley said, you know, each year they look at that loss ratio, and it really plays into the actual rate that you're charged for the insurance. Right now, your rate is 0 to 2%. It's very low. The Ohio plan is doing much better than the standard market. The standard market's trending up 20 to 40% on property and specialized coverages like E&O and D&O. We are getting our first hard market in about 12 to 15 years. So you're in the best possible place you can be in with a pool who can really, we're a little bit more insulated because we have a very large member group of 800. We have a surplus because we've been around since 1988. So this is when you really should see the benefits of being part of the pool. But your change in premium was really attributed to, we do inflate your property every year to keep up with the cost of materials and construction. As you know, like lumber is at an all-time high, and so we added 2% this year. And then you do have a change in vehicles, and more importantly, the value of the vehicles in total is really what you're charged for, because you might, you know, let go of an old vehicle, but purchase a new one that costs a lot more. And then basically your net operating expenditures, you're not rated like a commercial company where we do like revenue and number of employees. We rate you on the expenditures that you have which expose you to risk, which are the services that you're providing to the public. So, and that went up, so. Other than that, your rate was pretty much flat, so, yeah.
Thank you. Council, is there any questions? Council, please note that ordinance number 102, 2020 did pass by a vote of 7 yeas, 0 nays. That ends the item for consideration of passage this evening. And we will move to the mayor's report. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. Council, I'm sure most of you have heard some talk about Halloween. When is it going to be in Halloween? How is it going to be? And we have met with surrounding area communities, and our really objective is to make sure Halloween stays on Halloween. So when it kind of screws things up when surrounding communities pick different days or do different, for some reason, then we get people traveling to double dip, I guess, be a good word for that. But we believe Halloween should remain on the 31st of October, and be relatively how we had it, but we're going to go over some of the details, so we hope to keep everybody on tune with that day to avoid the problems, and just some advice for people. Other than that, we will let them know what the outcome is, but I think it's going to be somewhat similar to what we're used to seeing now. Because people always wear masks at Halloween.
So, we're just going to get some guidance through the recreation department and that's it. We have it on our website.
That's it. Oh, yeah. Just so excited. I'm so excited about Halloween.
The mayor and I both like candy, just as you know.
Dark out.
Yeah. My share.
Okay, I did see some correspondence with the departments. I will first start with asking council to accept the retirement resignation of Bernie Hatcher, effective September 30th, 2020, and that is council's concurrence in the acceptance of Bernie Hatcher's retirement.
Council?
Mr. President,
Mr. Seaman?
I move to concur with the retirement of the match.
Thank you, Mr. Seaman. Second. Second by Mr. Reeves. Council, any objections? Hearing no objections, Mayor Council concurs with the acceptance of the retirement of Mr. Bernie Hatcher.
Thank you. And next from the police department, and that will be also a retirement resignation, and that of Patrolman Tim Sheehan, and his official retirement date will be Friday, November 6th, 2020, and I guess also because of accepting the retirement of Officer Tim Sheehan.
Thank you, Mayor Council. Yes, Mr. Sale.
I would concur with the mayor on the retirement, accepting the retirement of Patrolman
Thank you, Mr. Sale. Second by Mr. Paul. Council, any objections? Hearing no objections, Mayor Council concurs with the acceptance of the retirement of the Patrolman Tim Sheehan.
And then, last council meeting, we announced the retirement of Brian J. To fill that chief's position at Station 41. I guess council's concurrence in accepting or into the promotion of Assistant Chief Andy Riker to Chief of Station 41, and that would be effective tomorrow, September 29th, 2020. Yes, council concurrence in that promotion. Once again, Assistant Chief to Chief of Station 41.
Thank you, Mayor Council.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Sale.
I move to concur with the mayor on the promotion of Andy Riker to Station 41 Battalion Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Sale. Second by Mr. Powell. Council, any objections? Hearing no objections, Mayor Council concurs with the promotion of Andy Riker to Station Number 41.
I thank you, council, and that does conclude our report.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Weezy.
Mr. President, members, just a note, I think most of you are aware that the state is asked, and the county health department asked to use some of our space to facilitate one of the pop-up COVID testing sites. It'll be essentially a one-day event this Wednesday from 9 until 2. They will set up, legislation. They will be doing this on Wednesday from 9 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, and they'll have it cleared out enough so that soccer practice and whatnot that comes in, they'll have no room for that. So we feel good about that.
Thank you, Mr. Beasley. Ms. McCord.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. McCord. Mr. Rowan.
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Rowan. Mr. Reeves.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. Mr. Sale.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Sale. Mr. Seaman.
I have no report tonight, today, but I was wondering, is that test going to be the deep nose or the shallow nose, you know? They have two different kinds of tests.
I think
They'll give you more heat.
I think it's just collecting my hair, Jim. I'm not sure which one it is. But,
Because that deep nose is kind of invasive.
Jim, if you remember, I got my medical degree from an unaccredited college, so I don't know.
Well, I'm just asking because.
I don't know which one to do. I had the deep nose, it wasn't bad though.
It's nice to see that the food truck is set up to shine. She just started, I think, yesterday, for the crepes, and the tea, and the coffee, so we should all go up, try to support her, but she made a major contribution to our community.
We'll put it under.
I got it there, it's only for you though, Mayor, that's it, nobody else. And of course, a week from this Wednesday, we are having the food truck, the farmer's market, at the same location on the bar. And, we had a tremendous, as I said before, we had a tremendous, number of people the last time. I guess people have been going to different places, so there's a lot of pent-up demand, so it worked out real well. We hope to have good weather a week from this Wednesday at 5 o'clock and Tuesday next farmer's market. Thank you, that's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Seaman. Dash. No report. Ms. Dash. Ms. Hall.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just had a quick question, with the wastewater treatment and that testing for COVID, rolled in there. They did the testing for, September, what was it, the 7th and the 13th, those 2 days, they have to do the third one down on the 20th.
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Reeves.
Just a note, I think the members are aware, the state approached us, and people like us that have relatively sophisticated wastewater treatment plants in Toledo, Oregon, Sandusky are the ones in this region that participate. And it's really a long-term effort to determine whether or not there's a correlation between what we find and what we're flushing down our toilets and what's going on in public health in the community. So that, and they have no opinion about whether there is a correlation, but it's, they're scientists and they're trying to find out. As of yet, nobody has found a correlation. But when they do tests, the samples are such a small percentage of what's going through the plant that among the speculations is that you can have wide swings in what you find. But over time, they're wondering if it could be a good way someday to predict when a community might be facing a challenge. Right now, they have no opinion about it, so they do try and this pop-up testing facility. My assumption is that it's tied to, let's see, okay, how does it correlate to what's going through our wastewater treatment plant? And for us, long-term, if they can learn from it, that's great. We had times when we've gone up a lot, other times we came down a lot, we went up a little bit, and then we just came down the last one. We assume that goes up and down based on how it's sampled, but we don't know those things. It's one sort of thing that over a period of years, people can learn that and it might be a useful tool. So that's what's going on. We had the results. Our last one came out, I think, Friday, and it was down a bit. It was down. We had one significant increase before. We have not seen any correlation between any results at the plant and what's going on in the community. But it's a learning effort, and that's why we do it.
The reason why I'm asking I was told there were, since from the time they started it till now, there were 3 tests. And everyone reported the numbers of how much it went up with 2 tests, and I was just wondering what the number was on the 3rd test. That's the reason why I was asking, just to see if there was
It's a little bit, not quite the number of men.
We've been testing each week for probably a couple of months, but it's gone up and down throughout the summer. Really, the request to do the pop-up testing was from Miles on, the data itself is on the state of Ohio, has a COVID site, yes.
Oh, that's
For that
awesome.
too.
Okay.
And it gives every plant's data is on it.
Okay, thank you.
Just to vote to get the real question. No one has yet, that's why they look at it long term, has made any real correlation between what we're finding at the plant and what's going on in the public health perspective. My guess is that over a period of years, someone might learn how to do that. But as a statistician, it's the sort of thing that would tend to, it's the sort of data that could lead to some pretty wild spikes, would be my guess. I don't know that it averages out that well for the system, but we'll see. It'll be fun to learn. I'm actually curious. I love data.
I just wonder how hard it is if they're looking for fragments, because they're not looking for full virus, because they can only be in fragments in this one. So I was kind of really curious to see what the numbers were, but thank you for that.
Thanks, Ms. Hall. Mr. Monahan?
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Monahan. I have no report. My speaking committee. So seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. President.
Mr. Sheehan, second by Mr. Reed. Council, any objection? Hearing no objection, meeting is adjourned.